The Indus Valley Civilization is also called the Harappan culture. Since Harappa was the first site to be discovered, the Indus Valley Civilization is also referred to as the Harappan Civilization. 16 Mahajanapadas means 16 states. The 16 Mahajanapadas were ancient Indian kingdoms that existed from the 6th to 4th century BCE. These powerful and prosperous states were spread across the northern and eastern regions of India. Each of these has its own distinct culture, language, and customs. Most of the Mahajanapadas were ruled by kings. These were ruled by a king. The king held the ultimate power in the Mahajanapadas and held a system in place which ensured not only the defense of the kingdom, but also collected taxes and maintained law and order in the cities and the villages under their influence. According to Jaina tradition, Mahavira was preceded by 23 teachers or Tirthankaras. Mahavira is erroneously called the founder of Jainism, but Jains believe that the 23 previous Tirthankaras also espoused it. According to Buddhism, the Sangha is none of the above. Sangha, Buddhist monastic order, traditionally composed of 4 groups: monks, nuns, laymen, and laywomen. The Sangha is apart together with the Buddha and the Dharma, teaching of the threefold refuge, a basic creed of Buddhism. Some of the earliest Bhakti movements were led by the Drop your answer in comment box. The Alvas and Nayanars led some of the earliest Bhakti movements, c. 6th century. Alvas, those who are immersed in devotion to Vishnu. Nayanars, those who are devotees of Shiva. On the historic day of 15 August, 1947, Gandhiji was in none of the above. While the entire nation was celebrating the Independence Day, Gandhi stayed in Calcutta in an attempt to stem the carnage. As a part of the national movement on 26 January 1930, Independence Day was observed. A public declaration was made on 26 January 1930. Congress asked the people of India to observe the 26th of January as Independence Day since 1930. Later it changes and made 15 August as the official Independence Day. Who was the last Sultan of Lodi dynasty? Ibrahim Lodi. Ibrahim Lodi was the third and last ruler of Lodi dynasty. He was defeated and killed in the First Battle of Panipat in 1526 by Babur. In 1919, Gandhiji gave a call for satyagraha against the none of the above. In 1919, Gandhiji called for a satyagraha against the Rowlatt Act. The Rowlatt Act curtailed fundamental rights, such as the freedom of expression. In which year, Gandhiji declared that he would lead a march to break the salt law. 1930. According to this law, the state had a monopoly on the manufacture and sale of salt. Mahatma Gandhi, along with other nationalists, reasoned that it was sinful to tax salt, since it is such an essential item of our food. The Planning Commission of India was formed in 1950. The Planning Commission of India was formed on 15 March 1950. It formulated the 5-year plans of India. On 17 August 2014, it was dissolved and replaced by the NITI Aayog. The Forest Satyagraha was staged in 1921 in Andhra Pradesh. Forest Satyagraha of the peasants of Guntur district took place in 1921. The peasants of this place had to pay heavy tax for permission to graze their cattle in forests. In 2011, the ST population of Tripura was 1,166,813. Lampra Puja in Tripura is a puja of. Drop your answer in comment box. Name the planet whose polar cap shows seasonal changes. Mars. Seasonal changes in Mars' North Polar ice cap. Increased warming, as spring progresses in the northern hemisphere, has sublimated the carbon dioxide ice and frost below 70 degrees north latitude. Which statement is correct? Comets follow elongated orbits. A comet's orbit is usually an elongated thin ellipse and does not follow a circular path. Which one is veiled planet? Venus. Venus is referred to as the morning star and evening star. It is surrounded by a thick cloud cover, hence known as the veiled planet. The difference between GMT and Indian Standard Time is 5.5 hours. What is the time difference between GMT and IST? The Indian Standard Time, IST, is ahead of the Greenwich Mean Time, GMT, by 5 hours 30 minutes. How many parallels of latitudes are there in total? 181. Which of the following statements is correct? Arctic Circle passes through Europe. The Arctic Circle passes through several countries in Europe, including Norway, Sweden, Finland, Russia, Iceland, and Greenland. These countries are located in the northernmost regions of Europe and are known for their cold climate and Arctic landscapes. The Earth crust is above discontinuity. MOHO. Mohorovicic discontinuity, or MOHO, boundary between the Earth's crust and its mantle. The MOHO lies at a depth of about 22 m 35 km below continents and about 4.5 m 7 km beneath the oceanic crust, in which seismic wave maximum damage to life and property is done. Surface wave. Surface waves are of two types, viz. Rayleigh waves and love waves. Surface waves cause maximum damage to life and property. Which one of the following is not a metamorphic rock? Dolerite. Dolerite is a rock that belongs to the group of igneous rocks. It is a mafic rock that has properties similar to basalt. Which one of the following is not correctly matched? Slate sandstone. Slate is a fine-grained, foliated, homogeneous metamorphic rock, and sandstone is a clastic sedimentary rock composed mainly of sand-sized 0.625 to 2 mm silicate grains. Which of the following east-flowing rivers of India has rift valley due to down warping? Damodar. The Damodar River, it flows through a rift valley. A rift valley is a type of valley created due to down warping or sinking of the land between two highlands. The Damodar Valley is an example of a rift valley. Match the list, mentioning which reason is correct. Madras is warmer than Calcutta latitude. Madras is warmer than Calcutta. Madras lies 13,817 N latitude, which is much near to equator, than Calcutta, which is 22,5667 n. Show fall occurs in Himalayas due to its higher altitude. Rainfall decreases from West Bengal to Punjab due to distance from sea. West Bengal is near to sea than Punjab. Which river in Tripura experience tide? Feni. Feni River originates in the South Tripura district in India. It then flows through Bangladesh and ultimately drains into the Bay of Bengal. So, it has direct confluence with the Bay of Bengal. Which one of the following is not an erosional landform? Bajana. Which one of the following is not an agent of erosion? Weathering. Electronic voting machines, EVMs, were used throughout the country for the first time in India in none of the above. The EVMs were first used in 1982 in the by-election to North Paravur Assembly constituency in Kerala. EVMs have been used in all general elections of India since 2014. In India, high courts were first established in the three presidency cities of Calcutta, Bombay and Madras. High courts were first established in three presidency cities of Calcutta, Bombay and Madras in 1862. The High Court of Delhi came up in 1966. The Scheduled Castes and the Scheduled Tribe Prevention of Atrocities Act was framed in 1989. The Scheduled Castes and Scheduled Tribes Prevention of Atrocities Act was passed in the year 1989 to protect the SCC and ST communities from violence and social discrimination. The Constitution of India was declared as passes with the signature of the President of the Constituent Assembly on 26 November 1949. 26 November 1949, Constitution of India, passed and adopted by the Assembly. 24 January 1950, last meeting of the Constituent Assembly. The Constitution of India, with 395 articles, 8 schedules, 22 parts, was signed and accepted by all. Who coined the phrase unity in diversities to describe India? None of them. Unity in diversity term, coined by Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India. He used this term in his book, The Discovery of India, in 1946. In his book, he described the strength and unity of the whole nation. Who among the following is called the first citizen of a state in India? The governor. Governor comes under Article 153 to 167 Part VI of the Constitution. The governor is the chief executive head of the state. Which of the following is not a constitutional body? National Advisory Council. The correct answer is the National Advisory Council. Bodies that are not formed by the government's action and are not mentioned in the Indian Constitution are called non-constitutional bodies. Which of the following is enforceable in a court of law? Fundamental rights. Fundamental rights are enforceable in a court of law. The Supreme Court holds the power to ensure that the fundamental rights of any individual in India are not violated. The Indian federal system is largely based on the pattern of Canadian federalism. The Indian federal system is based on the Canadian model and not on the American model. The Canadian model differs fundamentally from the American model insofar as it establishes a very strong center. T-TET Bill 1979 was passed by the Tripura Legislative Assembly on March 23, 1979. T-TET Act 1979 was passed by the Indian Parliament after a series of democratic movements launched by the indigenous people of Tripura under the provision of the 6th Schedule of the Indian Constitution. T-TET was constituted through vote by secret ball in January 15, 1982. The Agartala municipality was instituted in 1871 AD. The Agartala municipality was instituted in 1871 AD during the reign of Maharaja Chandra Manikya, 1862–96 AD. The number of Zilla Parishads in Tripura is 8. The number of subdivisions in Tripura is 23. Tripura was accorded the status of SC category state on January 26, 1950. On January 26, 1950, Tripura was accorded the status of SC category state, and on November 1, 1956, it was recognized as a union territory. It gained full statehood on January 21, 1972, as per the Northeast Reorganization Act 1971. Social science deals with human behavior in its social and cultural aspects. Social science is the branch of science that studies human behavior from social and cultural perspectives. It shows how society impacts and influences people to behave in a certain way. Which one of the following is not the aim of social science? Construction of NCF. National Curriculum Framework, NCF, is developed based on the VI Scion of the National Education Policy, NEP 2020, and to enable its implementation. The NCF addresses education for the age group 3 to 18 years across the entire range of diverse institutions in India. Which one of the following is not a creative activity in teaching of social science? Making discussions. Change of behavior in the definition of learning is one of the important aspects. Learning is a fundamental concept in psychology and education, often defined as a change in behavior resulting from experience. The project method given to the students is based on none of the above. Project method is based on the principle of social experience. The child is a social being, and we have to prepare the student for social life. Training for a corporate life must be given to him. Socio-constructivist theorist considers the child as active, being involved in creation of knowledge. Knowledge is always someone's knowledge. It is created or constructed by the experiencing individual. It is not impersonal or absolute. Which one of the following does not facilitate students' thinking? Passive listening. Which one of the following theorists propose that children's thinking is qualitatively different from that of adults? Piaget. Piaget argued that children's cognitive development occurs in stages Papalia and Feldman, 2011. Specifically, he posited that as children's thinking develops from one stage to the next, their behavior also changes, reflecting these cognitive developments. In a progressive classroom of social science, knowledge is constructed by the learner. A progressive classroom is a part of progressive education that believes in the capability and potential of every child. Which of the following is most important in an inclusive classroom? Individualist education plan. Inclusive education refers to the practice of educating students with special needs in regular classes for all. Providing an individual education plan, IEP, is most important in an inclusive classroom. The teaching of social and political life should focus on both A, EU, and B. It becomes clear that teaching of social and political life should focus on the study of political institutions and study of basic principles. Evaluation of learners' achievement helps the teacher to maintain the performance record of the learner. Student assessment enables instructors to measure the effectiveness of their teaching by linking student performance to specific learning objectives. According to contemporary theorists, learning is primarily a social activity. Learning is the process of acquiring new understanding, knowledge, behaviors, skills, values, attitudes, and preferences. Learning is a change in our behavior, and it is an active process that goes lifelong. Out-of-the-box thinking is related to divergent thinking. Out-of-the-box thinking is related to divergent thinking, which is a way of solving problems by exploring many possible solutions. The word pedagogy is a derivative of the Greek word both AE and B. Pedagogy describes the art and science of teaching students. The term comes from the Greek word paidagogos, a combination of paidos, a child, and agogos, leader,